Saturday's USC Notre Dame game is the biggest of Lincoln Riley's Trojan tenure. I'm going to tell you why and what to expect because we have this big game coming up on Saturday. Lockdown Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you can hit that subscribe button, you'll never miss a single episode. That would be great. And if you could share, follow, and like, that helps us out as well, because we are here every single day talking all things Big Ten. And you can hype YouTube videos right now as well. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. USC Notre Dame, it's always a big deal, but it's a little bit bigger this weekend. Plus, we'll have the latest Big Ten news. USC got fined, by the way. We'll tell you what that's all about. Oh, Penn State may now have to pay James Franklin's salary. Plus, we'll have our Big Ten classics and live action all coming up. But Lincoln Riley and USC, they got the Big Ten's attention this past weekend. I know they did with me as well, with an impressive win over Michigan. Not so much because they won, but how they did it in convincing fashion. The 31-13 score, all facets of the game contributing to the win. It was pretty impressive. Now that the Trojans have put themselves in a position, to make a run at that upper tier of the Big Ten that we always talk about here. Maybe you could get into the playoffs from there if you're in our top four. So now they have an opportunity to get the nation's attention. And they enter the biggest game of the year on Saturday night at Notre Dame with a lot at stake. In short, this game is huge for Lincoln Riley and his program. While he coached at Oklahoma, he coached them to some big playoff games back then. So I'm not going to say this is the biggest game of his career, because it's not. But it's the biggest game of his career at USC. And, for the Trojan fan base and for the boosters that are looking for this program to take that next big step up, this one's critical. Like Michigan was critical. They got it. Check that box. Now they got Notre Dame. Check this box. And then Lincoln Riley could be cruising forward. It's huge for all of us, by the way. In fact, it's huge for us here at Lockdown Big Ten, because we're going to go live. We're here every day, but we go live after the big games on the weekend. We're going to go live after this game. USC Notre Dame, 7:30 Eastern kickoff, 4:30 Pacific. It'll be over around 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. We'll go live. That way I get your immediate, unfiltered, fanatical fan reaction. That's what we're here for. You get my unfiltered view right after the game, and we'll recap all the other Big Ten games throughout the day. That's what we do on Saturdays. We have a lot of fun. There's a lot of success. Be part of the party. Put it in your calendars. Book it. Join us after the USC Notre Dame. And if you're not even a USC fan, we talk all Big Ten games, every team, every game, including the USC Notre Dame game. But back to that one. This game is big for a couple other reasons as well. It's each school's biggest rivalry, been going on for 100 years, and it looks like it's coming to an end, unfortunately. This is it. But this game is also somewhat of an October playoff game. It may be an elimination game for the loser of this when we're talking about playoff contention, being in that 12-team college football playoff field. Notre Dame, they already started out 0-2 with losses to Miami and Texas A&M. Granted, those were ranked opponents, but the Irish, they kind of dialed up their defense since then. They've only given up 34 points in their last 3.5 games, but they can't afford to have a third loss on the resume. I don't think a 3-loss Notre Dame team gets in the play. Maybe they do. I mean, they give Notre Dame every benefit of the doubt. Maybe they can get in with 3, but I don't think so. Now, USC, on the other hand, they only have 1 loss. It's to Illinois. That's a game that's got to leave a pit in their stomach. They got down by a couple scores. They stormed back. They actually took the lead. A lot of points, a lot of production. But then they saw Illinois grab the game with the field goal very, very late in that ball game. And so they lost it. So that's the blemish on the record. That's not to say a second loss and a loss to Notre Dame would eliminate the Trojans. again, it would be a non-conference loss, so it wouldn't hurt as bad, but, they still have Oregon on their schedule too. And a 3-loss season, that would make it pretty tough to make the 12-team playoff. And so I'm telling you, USC, they've got to win one of the two, I think, Notre Dame or Oregon. And by the way, you win them both, now you're having a completely different conversation about how good the Trojans are. So there's going to be some challenges on Saturday. USC has not won in South Bend since 2011. By the way, that was Lane Kiffin versus Brian Kelly, if you can remember that far back. And USC happens to be Notre Dame's toughest remaining opponent. And so Notre Dame, they need to run the table from here on out to get into the playoffs. Lincoln Riley, I think he proved versus the Michigan game against Michigan. I think he proved that his offense can succeed on both in the air and on the ground. That was pretty balanced. Like they did to Michigan what I think Michigan wishes they could do to other people right now. Riley's never had a problem with the passing game. He's coached 3 Heisman Trophy winners at Oklahoma and USC: Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Caleb Williams. And a big performance by Jade Maiava here at quarterback on Saturday in front of a nationally televised audience that could up his chances to be in the mix for the award as well. He's completed 72% of his passes, over 1,800 yards this year, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm a big touchdown to interception ratio guy. Nothing wrong there. Great ratio. Notre Dame secondary, they're going to have to deal with a couple of pretty good wide receivers for USC. And Mekhi Lemon, who has 682 yards and 6 touchdowns already. Jacoby Lane, great number 2 receiver. So they're loaded with the weapons. Now, there may or may not be a question mark for USC at running back with a running game. Waymon Jordan injured his ankle against Michigan. He's going to be out for more than a month. Also, Eli Sanders was hurt. He's done for the year. So they had to rely on a walk-on freshman on Saturday, King Miller. This is pretty, unless you're a Michigan fan, this was pretty impressive. That was pretty good. He stepped up and rushed for 158 yards and a touchdown. So let's give some credit to the USC offensive line, too, making it easier for him. They handled Michigan up front. That's a good defensive front by Michigan. USC's offensive line did a pretty good job. And the USC defense, I thought, showed some improvement in this game in the way they played against Michigan. Now, I'm not sold yet on the USC defense is better. I mean, they gave up a lot of yardage to Georgia Southern. Illinois moved the ball on them. I mean, they may be better, but they're not. They have work to do. And I thought the Michigan game was a good step forward for the Trojans defense. And they're going to face a freshman quarterback at Notre Dame who's coming along pretty well in CJ Carr. He's been quickly improving every week. He completes 63% of his passes. He's thrown for 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Again, not a bad ratio, right? Pretty good for a freshman. He's pretty good at distributing the ball. In fact, 7 different players have caught touchdown passes from him this year at Notre Dame. By the way, if Carr's name sounds familiar to you, Big Ten fans, it should. His grandfather is former Michigan coach Lloyd Carr. But Notre Dame's bread and butter is the running game. They got the Jeremiah Love kid. Great, maybe the best running back in the country as far as everything that he could do. He's got an even 100 catches so far this year, 530 yards, 8 touchdowns. And he also has 3 touchdown passes this season, which matches his career total in that category. And Notre Dame's defense has some players as well. They already have 11 interceptions and 22 pass breakups and 15 sacks. They're going to come. They're going to come at you. USC can also bring some pressure too. They have 20 sacks already. And their safety Bishop Fitzgerald, who we've talked about before, he's got 5 of the Trojans' 8 interceptions already this year. So there's some there on both sides of the ball for both teams. It's going to be a great game, a lot at stake. I would love your predictions and comments. Trojan fan, let's hear it. Notre Dame fan, if you're out there, let's hear it. Let's get ready for this big game. Again, we're going to go live here on Locked On Big Ten right after that game as soon as it's over, so you can find us here after that one. But I would like your comments ahead of time right here as we get warmed up for the game. And then on tomorrow's podcast, I'm going to break down, by the way, every Big Ten team, every Big Ten game this weekend, and then make our pigskin picks. So that's all coming up. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below, please. That way you'll never miss a single episode, and then you and I will be in the old same Big Ten club together. That will be great. And if you could share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, that would be very helpful because I know if you're listening or watching right now, you're a Big Ten fan. I know you know other Big Ten people because we all hang around together. Let them know we're out here. Hit that little share arrow and send this there to your friends and let them know we're out here every single day. All right, so we got some Big Ten news. Penn State, we're going to get to this. Penn State may not have to pay James Franklin his $50 million buyout. We'll give you the reason behind all that, what's going on there. Also, USC got fined by the Big Ten. What's that all about? And we'll have our Big Ten Classics and live action. All that coming up in a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Supply House keeps those jobs moving forward. You know, you got a job to do and you don't have the parts and supplies you need, you stop. You lose money. You lose opportunity. You don't get your work done. Supply House, get your crew moving forward. That's what they do. Order today. See parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keeps you from punting projects and wasting time and wasting money, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side cover. You need parts fast, like ASAP. Supply House has next-day delivery. I mean, it's an absolute game changer. Plus, you can join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com and sign up for free and use the promo code SHColleges5. That's for 5% off, the number 5, SHColleges5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. We love watching games because it's exciting, but it's more exciting if you watch them with FanDuel. That's right. The NFL season, we're in the thick of it. You can join in too with FanDuel right now. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And the app, super easy to use. Find your games, your dates, everything, your point spreads, your point totals, player props, futures. It's all there. Single bets, parlay bets, pull them all together. And when you win, quick payback too as well. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com and download the FanDuel app today and get started. That is at FanDuel.com. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day. You everydayers, thank you very much for making us go. We always appreciate that. Hit that free subscribe button down below and share, follow, and like and hype Locked On Big Ten. And we also have a website, talkbig10.com. All right. One more note on that USC-Michigan game. The Big Ten fined the Trojans $5,000 for playing running back Brian Jackson, because he was actually listed as out on the final pregame availability injury report. He was out. He wasn't going to play, and then he did. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the Trojans were pretty thin at running back. Jackson had been out with turf toe since week 1. Lincoln Riley said the doctors cleared him to play and that they would only use him in an emergency. But then when you run out of running backs, I think that's an emergency. And he had 5 carries for 35 yards and a touchdown. They needed him. It was worth the $5,000. They had to do it at that point. And they tried to explain to the Big Ten, and they're like, "Hey, we got this situation." The Big Ten wasn't having any of it. They take those injury reports seriously, as they should. But also, I'm not going to blame USC for doing it. You got to do what you got to do and get your guys out there on the field trying to win a football game. Can't go back and redo the game. I think it was the right move. Yeah, they'll pay the $5,000. They won't worry about it. Speaking about worrying about paying money, though, different scenario at Penn State with James Franklin. He's got a $50 million buyout now that he's been fired. And it turns out there's an offset clause in that contract from his 2021 extension. So get this. He is obligated to look for another coaching job. He's from between the date of his termination, which was Sunday, to the end of his contract term in 2031. Now he can get a coaching job. He can get a scouting job. He can get a broadcast job. He's got to make an effort to get the job. And then the salary that he commands on his next job will offset the amount that Penn State owes him. And he's also obligated to seek as much money as possible. He can't take a job at a network or another coaching gig, say, "Hey, only pay me $1 million million because Penn State will have to pay the rest. Can't do that. It's got to get fair market value or attempt to get fair market value on all of this. And that means that, again, Penn State would only have to pay the difference of whatever he earns during this term of this contract. Now, if he gets a higher paying job in the future, let's say he gets a primo head coaching job and they pay him more than he was making at Penn State, he may actually have to pay some of the Penn State money back if it had already been paid out in advance. It's crazy. So that's what the language of the contract says. And, it means he just can't accept another job for like under the market. So far, and that means he can't just sit on his couch for a few years and not even try and get a job. So what are they going to do? They're going to follow up. Hey, like an unemployment office, right? Go, hey, James, you've been looking for a job. Who have you looked for a job for? With. In the meantime, Penn State's got a pretty tough date this weekend at Iowa, and that's as tough as any place to play. And while the Hawkeyes are not flashy, they're sneaky good. Plus, Penn State's got to go in there with their backup quarterback, Ethan Grunkmeyer, because Drew Aller, season-ending injury in the Northwestern game. That was just a bad day all the way around for Penn State. Losing Northwestern, losing your quarterback, your coach gets fired. But who knows? Something wasn't clicking with Drew Aller anyway. So, I don't know. Maybe this will be a little spark. We'll see because there's still a lot of talent on that football team. So, we'll see. Now, here's another thing. If you're an everydayer here, we don't call for coaches to lose jobs. We didn't call for James Franklin to be fired. We are not calling for Luke Fickell to be fired at Wisconsin, but we feel like if it's going to happen, and it does happen, we got to talk about it. That's our job. That's our obligation to you. And I sense things are shaky at Camp Randall. He's 15-17, and their offense has no ability at all. Fans were stunned a few weeks ago when they were shut out in the first half at home against Maryland, and they started yelling the fire Fickell chants out there, and they followed it up with last week's loss at Michigan, and then they get shut out 37-0 to Iowa in front of their home fans. So things are not going to get better soon. They got number 1 Ohio State coming. That's Fickell's alma mater, by the way, and ironically. And look, if you're shut out by Iowa, and you take it on Ohio State, who arguably has the best defense in the country, you're going to get shut out again. I think this is going to be like a 55-0 ball game. I'll talk more about it tomorrow on our Pigskin Picks as well, but it does not look good. And then after Ohio State, you got at Oregon, you got Washington, you got at Indiana, number 3 team in the country. You got Illinois, they're ranked. You got Minnesota. I don't know if there's there's wins on that schedule. Maybe not. So it's just a matter of time when Wisconsin wants to, ride into the sunset with an interim coach or not. That's the only really decision to be made. That's my opinion. I don't have an inside source that says, oh yeah, hey, be prepared for Fickell to be fired. And again, we don't root for guys to get fired. We don't want guys. We would love it if you get on a win streak and turn it around. But anyway, I think it's going to happen this upcoming weekend or next weekend, in my personal opinion. All right. Don't forget, we got a lot of games to look at here this weekend, Friday night, and we're going to preview them all tomorrow and then give you our Pigskin Picks. Got Nebraska, Minnesota on Friday night, Washington at Michigan, big game, Purdue at Northwestern, Ohio State, the Wisconsin game we just mentioned. Michigan State's been reeling. They're at Indiana. Also, Oregon at Rutgers. We got Penn State at Iowa, we mentioned. Maryland at UCLA. I'm really curious to see how UCLA does. Seem to be on a bit of a roll. And then, of course, we have the USC Notre Dame game, 7:30 on NBC and Peacock as well. And again, that's the game we're going to go live after here on Locked On Big Ten Saturday night on YouTube. Check it out. We'll be on around 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific with that game. All right. So some great games coming up. Tomorrow we break them all down. Tomorrow we'll have our Pigskin Picks on the record. Coming up next, we'll take a look at our Big Ten classics and live action on the Big Ten Network that we're interested in this weekend. That's all coming up in a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive, and that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety and style and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every single detail. Yeah, they got a lot of safety awards that can show you all of those. They focus on details like metallic accents and Napa leather, hand stitched. It's all right there. So, like whether you're just driving to the store, driving the kids around, or doing a long weekend trip, getting behind the wheel of a Mazda, it makes every drive, every day feel special. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten. If you are new, we always have features at the end of our podcast. One of the things that makes us unique compared to all the other podcasts out there in the world. Mondays, we always come off the weekend with my Big Ten, top 10 Big Ten observations. Tuesdays, we always do Tuesday tweets on Twitter. Follow us on X and send us your tweets. I'll put them on the show every Tuesday. Wednesdays, we power rank. Go check out where we had your favorite team ranked yesterday, 1 through 18, power rankings right here on Locked On Big Ten. They're the real rankings, the standings as we see it. Thursdays, we take a look at the Big Ten Classics and Big Ten Live action on the Big Ten Network. We are not affiliated with the Big Ten Network, but we obviously have the same interests. And then Fridays, tomorrow, Pigskin Picks at the end of the program. So check that out. All right, let's go full screen. If you're audio only on Apple or Spotify, that's cool. No problem with that. We'll just put them out here on a graphic. All times are Eastern Standard Time and actually Eastern Daylight Savings Time till a couple more weeks. Here we go. 9:00 Eastern on Friday the 17th. We got a Michigan football classic, the Rose Bowl. Michigan versus Washington, since these two teams are playing this weekend as members of the Big Ten. But back in the day, this was Big Ten versus Pac-10. And this is from 1993. Rose Bowl MVP Tyrone Wheatley led the 7th-ranked Wolverines with 235 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns to help secure a 38-31 victory over the 9th-ranked Huskies. Now, we jump to 10:00 a.m., 7:00 Pacific, a Minnesota football classic from 2014. In a game they were trailing by 14 points at the half, Minnesota kept their Big Ten West title hopes alive, and they rallied to beat Nebraska in Lincoln. So check that out if you're a Minnesota fan. Now we've got 1:00 Eastern time, a Wisconsin football classic. Since Wisconsin's playing Ohio State, we got Ohio State at Wisconsin. This is from 2010. John Clay running for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns, with James White ran in the clinching score to secure the 18th-ranked Badgers, a 31-18 upset over the top-ranked Buckeyes. Upset City. By the way, if you're working at this time of day, record these. You'll want to check them out. At 2:00 Eastern, we got a Ohio State football classic. It's the Big Ten championship game, Ohio State versus Wisconsin from 2019. The top-ranked Buckeyes coming back from a 21-7 deficit after their in the first half to defeat the 8th-ranked Badgers 34-21 for their 3rd straight Big Ten title. Oh, remember all those? That's what I like about the Big Ten Classics. You get to go back in time, remember where you were at that point of your life watching those games. Saturday on the 18th, we'll pick it up here at 9 a.m. Eastern, a Big Ten football in 60. That's where they highlight the highlight from snap to snap, and boil down a game in just 60 minutes. And this is the Friday night game, Nebraska at Minnesota from this week. So if you miss it Friday night, you can catch what happened in just an hour at 9:00 Eastern on the Big Ten Network. At 10 a.m., they're doing their weekly Big Ten tailgate from Bloomington, Indiana. Checking out the Hoosiers, the new number 3 team in the country, before they get to take on Michigan State. Then they'll run their Big Ten countdown to kickoff at 2:30. Now, they're not doing the game, Michigan State at Indiana. That's on Peacock, but they will bounce from Bloomington, and then they got a Big Ten doubleheader at 3:00 Eastern. Big Ten football, Purdue at Northwestern. And then at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific, Oregon at Rutgers. So Oregon coming off the loss to Indiana, travel all the way to the East Coast to take on Rutgers. You can catch that game on the Big Ten Network. And then we'll take a look at Sunday's lineup here, what they have and all their highlights. They re-air their final drive show at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7:00 Pacific. They'll run it throughout Saturday night and many times through Sunday. It's all the highlights of all the games wrapped up in a highlight show there. Then at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific, another one of those Big Ten football in 60s, the Ohio State-Wisconsin game jammed into 60 minutes of just snap-to-snap highlights from this weekend. At 8 p.m., we'll jump all the way from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. We don't list everything they do, but these are things you'd probably be interested in. At 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, replay of football, Big Ten football in 60, Penn State and Iowa. Then at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, Michigan State at Indiana, in case you missed all of that. And then they'll close it out at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific, that Washington game at the Big House at Michigan. All the highlights and snap-by-snap plays in 60 minutes. So there you have it. That's a look at our Big Ten classics and live action going into the weekend on the Big Ten Network. Everything I think you would be interested in as well. Let's get you caught up on a couple things. Don't forget, live. We're going live on Saturday, right after the USC Notre Dame game, about 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. Join us there. I want your comments on that one. The live comments on Saturday, as well as during the week here on YouTube, if you want to fire away with that. We'll have the latest news, analysis, and opinion of that news every single day. We'll have our Pigskin Picks tomorrow. In the meantime, you can interact with this podcast at Twitter, at TalkBig10 or X. Our website, talkbig10.com, has all of our podcasts. If you missed any of our podcasts this week, we got a ton of them out there. Go back for a second listen after this one and check it out, talkbig10.com. And then there are also links there if you want. If you want to buy some merchandise from your favorite Big Ten schools, shirts, t-shirts, hats with your school logos on it, right there at talkbig10.com with all of our podcasts as well. Hit that free subscribe button if you don't mind. That way, we're together forever talking Big Ten. It's free. And if you could share, follow, and like. Again, if you're a Big Ten fan, you probably are. If you're checking us out, hit share and send this to somebody that you know that likes Big Ten. In the meantime, the Locked On and Fire TV for you college football fans have something every Thursday, and then you can watch it recorded at any time you want, but it comes out every Thursday, the college football kickoff, the ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation along two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and, of course, Locked On's local experts. And a college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch the college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season on Fire TV. That'll do it for us. Another episode in the books. Can't wait to join you tomorrow previewing every single Big Ten game and then our Pigskin Picks. And I'm always looking for comments and feedback from you guys as well. So until tomorrow, thanks for joining us today for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman. We'll see you tomorrow.